One of the most common reasons that we see dogs has to do with reactivity issues towards either strangers or strange dogs. Often, trainers will give advice in these situations, such as make sure that strangers don't touch your dog or pet your dog, or make sure that other people aren't allowing their dogs to come up to yours. Sometimes this can seem a little bit illogical. For instance, if you take your dog to the veterinarian, you need a stranger to be able to touch your dog in that context. So if we're not allowing strangers to touch our dogs, how do we deal with that scenario? Well, here's the thing. Throughout many people's relationship with their dogs, they often, if not all the time, disagree with their dogs about what potential threats actually are. For instance, you're walking down the street with your dog and they see an oncoming dog approaching. They perceive that dog as a threat, and we're telling our dog, nope, it's okay, it's totally fine, and we continue to walk straight towards that oncoming dog. To exaggerate this concept even further, you might even be walking past a house where there's a dog behind a fence who is barking aggressively at your dog. Your dog perceives this as a threat, yet we as the humans are often saying things or behaving in such a way as to try to communicate that it's totally fine, and we continue to walk straight by and encourage our dog to ignore this other dog. If you constantly are disagreeing with your dog about what a threat actually is, then it's really hard to actually get them to trust you when you need them to in a situation like the veterinarian's office where it really isn't a threat. So one of the first things that you need to do if you're dealing with a reactive dog is to start agreeing with them. Strange dogs approaching them on the street are threatening. Sometimes strange people are threatening too. Certainly a dog who is barking at them aggressively is absolutely a threat. Agree with your dog that these are threats, and you can do that through your actions. If you see a strange dog approaching, you can go and cross the street. If a dog is barking aggressively, you can make sure that you take a strong posture to communicate to your dog that you understand that is a threat and that we need to deal with it accordingly. But if we try to communicate to our dogs that these things are totally nothing to worry about, and we do that all the time, even in situations that clearly are threatening, then why on earth would our dogs believe us when we say, hey, no man, for real, this one's definitely cool? That's not the way it works. But if we start agreeing with our dog more often than not, and we say, you're right, that is a threat, but let's as a team deal with the threat appropriately, then in those situations, when we're in the context of, for instance, the veterinarian's office, and we say to our dog, I need you to trust me, it's going to be okay, our dog is more likely to believe us because 99% of the time we are agreeing with the dog about what constitutes a threat. So when this time we say this isn't a threat, it's likely that the dog's going to go, I trust you.